Hey everyone, this is Veer McCoy. My book, Healing Therapies for Long COVID. We're working with chapter 9, and this is part 2. I want to get into other remedies and drugs that are really helpful for inflammation, histamine, mitochondrial or cell health, and also, craziness and all the other weird symptomology that can come with long COVID. Again, I'm simplifying things. These are my favorite medicines. There's many medicines that repurpose medicines that have come out, and if you want more, you can check out my book. Okay, so one of the things that happens, so we've talked about the spike protein issue, right? The blockers. Okay, the autoimmune part of it, we've talked about that. How to lower the autoimmune situation with things like fluvoxamine, low-dose naltrexone, the limbic connection, breath work. We did the colostrum, the mushrooms, right? Rishi Shaga, turkey tail. We talked about those in the previous one. So we'll move out of that. So with all this this sort of inflammation that happens from all of this and the histamine and the inflammation when your body's inflamed, it's like it hits people differently, right? It can hit the endocrine glands, which mess up your hormones, and you get high glucose levels. And my glucose levels went haywire, and cholesterol levels go haywire, and it dysregulates your system when you're inflamed. So we got to get the inflammation down. We talked a lot about that before. Hot, cold, ice water, smoothies, things that just cool you off, right? Some of my favorite medicines are herbs like boswellia. So boswellia is frankincense, actually. Boswellia is a great anti-inflammatory. Turmeric, curcumin, a lot of science has come out about that being a great anti-inflammatory. It has a lot of other properties as well, but it's a good anti-inflammatory. I will say that when I was dealing with oxalate issues, I couldn't do turmeric and I couldn't do curcumin. It was making me react. So you might want to check that out if you're having a lot of leaky gut issues or histamine issues. Turmeric might not work for you. It didn't for me. I was having issues with it. I'm fine with it now. Other anti-inflammatories, resveratrol is another great one, right? Pycnogenol, that's another great one. A lot of times low dose steroids, low dose prednisone can really help bring down the inflammation. You want to work with your doctor on that one, but it's just low dose. You're taking just a little bit of prednisone every day for maybe a week or two to just help bring down that inflammation, right? There's many excellent anti-inflammatory herbs and medicines out there, but my favorites are the turmeric. Bromelain. Bromelain's really great too. That's from pineapples. It's great anti-inflammatory. Look for combinations with things of like that have bromelain, turmeric, and maybe boswellia in it, and resveratrol. That's another good one. Okay, so that segues into histamines, right? So the histamines are because we're having this chronic reaction, this chronic allergic reaction. It's almost like we've become allergic to our own blood, right? We become allergic to these spike proteins, and it really feels like a histamine reaction. Burning skin, burning scalp, feels like your brain is on fire. Just this intense, cool of flame. So what brings down histamine? Quercetin is great. Herbs like skullcap are really great. My favorites is actually this is there's two kinds of histamines, the H1 and the H2, and you want one of each. Ketotifen, Ketotifen. That was really helpful. I believe it's an H2 antihistamine. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but ketotifen. You got to get it from a compounding pharmacy. Ask your doctor about that one. That one was really helpful for me, and it also helps you sleep too. take it at night, and it's not too toxic. The other one's like Pepsid, right? Famotidine. Pepsid is famotidine, levocetrazine, Claritin. Try all of those antihistamine drugs. Tagamet, that's another good one. I've seen people find combinations of those antihistamines that worked right for them. And what I found is you kind of got to cycle through them and find the ones that actually work for you. Benadryl is hardcore is kind of this next level one that does work for people, but I don't recommend that one because it can be pretty toxic, pretty hard on your body. But try just cycling through some of the other ones like Claritin and Allegra and all those ones and see which ones work. And try combining them with things like quercetin, skullcap is great. Any of the bee products like a little bit of honey, a little bit of bee pollen, you know, help bring down that allergic sort of reaction. Homeopathics, Apis is a good one. Rhus, Rhus. Those are great for helping bringing down inflammation. There's even one called histaminum for bringing down inflammation. Oh, a great one that I really love for histamine is Paramine. Paramine, Perimine. That one really helped. Nigella sativa is a great one for inflammation and histamine. So you'll need those, right? And then, okay, cellular health. So COVID disrupts the mitochondria, and the mitochondria are kind of like the little battery packs in your cells. Cells are little battery packs. So it's like your batteries get drained, right? So what's going to help boost those batteries? CoQ10. Niacin. A lot of people have gone down just using niacin and been done really well with long COVID. NAD. That's another good one. Those things that sort of boost the mitochondrial pack. It can be really helpful. And what I found, what I've seen is that somebody might need a little adjusting here or there. I'm not a doctor, but I've been dealing with long COVID and working with clients. I've seen so much of it that I have my little tricks and hacks. And I've seen that like some things work for some people and some things don't. And it might be that like NAD was the thing that really did it. Ivermectin was the thing that did it. But ivermectin didn't work for somebody else so it's like you're really going to have to kind of put your Shirley Holmes cap on and really sleuth it. Again, go back to the chapter on the intuitive meditations. That's really important to keep checking in with your body because, like I said before, I believe that your body actually knows what it is that you're needing. You just have to listen, and then you have to translate into it. Vitamins and minerals. Vitamin and mineral imbalances could be huge. It could be that you're just low in copper, you're low in magnesium, you're low in phosphorus. I recommend a good multivitamin like Mary's liquid minerals or something, liquid vitamins. Get a metals test. Get a test that shows you where your metals are, your heavy metals, and also get a minerals and vitamins test and look and see which vitamins and minerals you're low in or high in. That can really make a big difference. I've seen people that like don't methylate iron right or something, and when they stop taking iron supplements, they can get better, or vice versa. Iron's one you got to really look at closely, and copper too. Copper can really make a difference if it's low or high in your makeup. And maybe you don't work with copper well. Everybody's different, right? It's good to do one of those metals tests and even genetic makeup tests, like the what's the name of that test? I'm forgetting. Please forgive me. But there's tests out there that can test for those metals. Um, okay, antimicrobials. So you're going to get a lot of bugs that flare up because your immune system is so busy being confused over the spike proteins, you're going to get all these other bugs that flare up. The viruses, the Epstein-Barr viruses, any kind of old herpes viruses, Lyme disease, parasites, fungus, mold, as we talked about. Could be mold is a big one. You got to make sure you're not dealing with mold. Bugs, right? They get out of jail free cards, and they then you got to deal with them. So we want to knock them down. The good thing is that some of the medicines, like we talked about, I really like nicotine or tobacco because nicotine has a natural antiparasitic and antiviral and antibacterial quality to it already, and it blocks the spike proteins, right? So that's a really good one. Other antibiotics and antimicrobials really. There's a number of different ones. Some of my favorite ones are colloidal silver. Good old colloidal silver is great at bringing molds down. It's great at viruses. It's great at bacteria. That's a good all general purpose one. Propolis is another good one. And then there's the antibiotics. I like antibiotics like amoxicillin, where you're just doing a little bit of it, right? Help knock down those bugs that have gotten out of control, especially in your gut, because the dysbiosis might mean there's a number of bugs that have flared up and your good guys are having some serious issues, right? So you may need to kill those or at least knock them down while you're getting a handle on everything, right? Um, Amoxicillin is a good one. Just a short course. Maybe you could do like a 3 or 4 day course of it. Check with your doctor. But you want to be on some kind of anti microbial. And then there's other parasite. There's other parasites. Yeah, there's lots of them. The thing is like all these bad guys, all these parasites, all these viruses. We are a sack of life, right? Most of our makeup is water and sacks of all these bugs, bacteria. So everybody's got parasites, everybody's got fungus, everybody's got a little candida, everybody's got a little mold. But is it being held in check? That's the key thing. It's like a compost pile. A healthy compost pile burns hot and everything is kept in check. Nobody gets out of whack. So these guys have gotten out of whack, dysbiosis, because your immune system is tanked. It's confused, right? So that the immune system becomes very important at calming down, at modulating, which we've already talked about. The inflammation, the histamine, all these bugs, this is all secondary stuff, really. But we do want to knock this down. With mold, tobacco, again, gets at the mold. That's what tobacco is a really great medicine because it kind of hits all three of those categories, right? It's antiparasitic, antibacterial, and it gets at the mold too. Again, small amounts. There's a lot of anti-mold drugs. I recommend doing a urine test for mold to see where you're at with the mold. You can get blood tests as well and just see where you're at and see if you've got any mold in your blood. And then whatever mold shows up, there are specific remedies that you're going to want to take. And a lot of times the Western stuff is going to do better than the oregano oil. Sometimes the oregano oil is going to work, but sometimes it's the nystatin, the azoles, the amphotericin B. There's a number of different Western meds, but specific to your fungus, to your mold. Again, I like the bigger ones like propolis or colloidal silver or tobacco that sort of have these multifaceted uses and can kind of knock a bunch of different things down. Some other favorite medicines for the brain, especially that brain on fire feeling. So I was doing this, feeling into my brain and trying to come up with something. And I had this beautiful image of salts, but they were like glowing salts, like really bright glowing salts. I was like, oh, I need salt. Salt, by the way, is sodium chloride, the chloride ion. A little bit of salt can help break down those spike proteins too. But it was like, this isn't salt. This is what? So I Googled it, right? Glowing salts, lithium. Lithium turns out, and there's a number of scientific papers and practitioners using lithium to really help with the symptoms of long COVID. Check it out. Lithium, I found low dose lithium, the amount they give the people who are, have mental issues or bipolar is very high. What we're talking is low dose lithium. You may, and that may, you have to find your dosage there, but lithium is great for bringing that fire down in the brain, that really intense histamine kind of reaction. All right, let's see. I'm going to go over a lot of this in the summary, but I think that that's pretty good. Parasites. You might want to look at things like albendazole and mebendazole. And ivermectin has that general effect on parasites as well. Strongyloides worms are like pinworms, those little worms. But if you're dealing with other parasites, things like albendazole or mebendazole or febendazole are great too. Those also can have an anti-cancer effect as well, which I discuss in another book. Black walnut, wormwood. Yeah, get a test, get a stool test to find out what bugs, what molds, what yeasts, what parasites, what bacteria are out of whack. Okay, so then we get into probiotics, right? What are the best probiotics that are really going to help? I found that in the early days, Bacillus subtilis was really great at helping me get my gut back. They call it also HU58. The bifidobacteriums were really good. I made my own kefir, my own homemade kefir. I highly recommend kefir to help get that flora back if you're not dealing with histamine and stuff. And the other really great probiotic that really helped me was Akkermansia, Akkermansia, Mansia. Akkermansia was really great too for sort of helping bring back the flora, right? The good guys, they're good buddies. Kimchi, all that stuff. You might not be able to do kimchi if you're dealing with histamine. So you're going to have to slowly graduate and bring all that stuff back in. And I get more into healing the gut on my gut protocol. All right. That's a lot for your brain. It's a lot for my brain. Remember, coming back to chapter 3 or 4, the fire in your belly is the only pill you need. And we'll get back into that into the next chapter. All right. Take care.